Alondra, I posted the link to the sign in and the presentation right before you logged in. Are you able to see it or have to post it again?
I can see it, thank you.
All right.
I got it. Thank you.
Let's see. Alondra, I don't know why they would not have your site. That might be a hub question. All right, well, welcome everybody. So 10 o'clock, so there should be the link to the sign in the chat, and a link to create a copy of the presentations in the chat. And so for those just kind of logging in, so thought we could introduce ourselves. And so in the chat, some of you already typed in your name, your site, your subject. And I'm an English teacher, so I'm always looking for books to read. So what's the best book you read this summer? And I love baseball, so what's your favorite baseball team? Or maybe with the Olympics coming up there, what's your favorite Olympic sport to watch? So you can kind of type in that as well. And pretty soon I'll have the different websites we're going to go to. I'll post those in the links here. But our first website's going to be Adobe Express there. And then somebody already reminded me to record the session. So the session's being recorded there. Right. And so today we're going to talk about art and creativity in the classroom. And so I find that if you keep the students engaged and doing something interesting and artistic, it's going to help the students learn, and it's going to create less disruptions in your classroom. And this is kind of like a nice alternative form of assessment. So we get that as well there. And these sites are pretty easy to use. And so, you know, just like a moment to learn, kind of a lifetime to master. And so it's pretty easy to use. And so if you're kind of a beginning, computer user, right, it's pretty easy to use. And then if you're really advanced, then you can really go into depth and really kind of, if you're really artistic and have that as well, it can really kind of go into depth there. Okay. And so, great. So we got, my name's Stephen Brau, and so I'm at Everett Alvarez High School. So I've been in the district since August of 1999, all at Everett Alvarez High School. And this summer I read Northwoods, which was pretty good. I enjoyed it. My sister did not, so we kind of divided on what if it's a good book or not. And then currently I'm almost done with the Pulitzer Prize winner, The Night Watch. So I enjoyed that one as well. And my favorite baseball team, so I like the A's, but the last couple of years I'm boycotting Fisher. So I'm not going to go to an A's game, but maybe I'll go to the Giants game next week when they're playing the A's, so I can support the A's that way. And then Olympic sports, I kind of like the track and field there. And then I'm interested, I coach the girls golf team at Alvarez as well. So I'm interested in the Olympic golf as well there. Cool. All right. So we got a good group of people here. And so here we go. And if somebody could be in charge of the chat and kind of monitor if there's any issues in the chat, we can do that one there. So our first tool is making a little video. And so we're going to use Adobe Express here first. And so making little videos, I first kind of used during distance learning, and they could make this little video there for distance learning. And this Adobe Express video, it's like Google Slide, except on steroids. And so you can, it's kind of makes it a little fun. So you're basically, the video I kind of create is making like Google Slides, but they're automatic. So they're kind of have a little animation with them, and you can record your own voice on it, and you can kind of add images and pictures. And so kind of it's like a Google Slide, but a video format there. And the students are able to make a little video, and then there's a link. So you make a link, and then you add it to the Google Classroom. So everything I do in the classroom is on the Google Classroom, and then I create the links and things on the Google Classroom to like Adobe Express or to Canva or Storyboard that, and then they're able to put it onto the Google Classroom. So it makes it easy to find and to grade and to post there as well there. And so as an English teacher, I do it for teaching like rhetoric. So, but as we're working here, for those that are teaching other subjects, think of other ways that you use this in the classroom, and then we'll be able to share out. And so you can kind of share out and find out what it is that you use it, what you could use it for. So in English 11, junior English, I'll teach rhetoric. And so we'll kind of go over, so first, I'll teach out the basics of rhetoric with the ethos, logos, and pathos. So in the classroom, we'll do the book work on teaching the different forms of rhetoric. And then to show their knowledge of rhetoric, I have them create an advertisement. And so with the advertisements, I will have the students sell something using rhetoric. And so they could sell, I have them pick, so they can pick a phone or a car, shoes, anything they can think of. So just this is kind of the thing I use at the beginning of the year. And so choose something to sell, right? And they have to sell it with the logos. They have to sell the product with using facts. And they have to sell with ethos, with coming up with a credible authority, and with the pathos, they have to use some emotion there, right? And so then I want them to add some other rhetorical devices like allusions or rhetorical questions and hyperbole or similes and metaphors, repetition, right? And so I kind of give them this little instructions. And so I say, first create like a radio advertisement. So I want them to write the speech. They'll air on the radio. And then so they got to type up the speech. and then record yourself reading the scripts on the Adobe Spark video. And so you can add images and music to the advertisement. And so here we'll get a couple of the samples. And so these are, you know, real student samples. And so, you know, they're not perfect, but this kind of shows you what students are able to do here. So first we'll kind of watch the VW advertisement. And with the VW advertisement, it's a, let me mute my mic here first. It's a little quiet, but it'll be okay here.
It's here, the new waste money in an old rusty van when you could buy the new automatic van. Go on family vacations with the most comfortable seats and the greatest amount of space. If you don't buy it now, you will be missing a big opportunity because there's only a limited amount of these amazing vans. Don't be left out. Buy it now so you could have the most adventurous, spectacular memories while traveling with family and friends. Buy it now before it's too late.
Is your old phone giving you problems? Do you want a top-tier phone but at an affordable price? If that's the case, then the new LG phone is the right phone for you. The LG phone is coming this Saturday. Yes, this Saturday to your local stores. This new state-of-the-art LG phone has a camera that is as good as the iPhone 11 Pro and comes with 128GB storage. This new phone also has been tested and is reliable, durable, fits perfectly on your hand and pocket, and is even waterproof. Each phone comes equipped with a screen protector and a free pair of earbuds. Starting price for this new phone is $599, but get yours this Saturday and this Saturday only for $499. If it breaks, the first repair is on us. This phone will not disappoint you, so I say get yours now.
Hey. Tired of your iPhone always freezing up and taking forever to load? Well, I've got just the thing for you. The new iPhone 11 is meant for you. I know you may be thinking, it's just like any other iPhone, but I'm here to tell you it's not. The iPhone 11 doesn't take forever to load. You can switch your data up and down every month. It comes with 512 gigabytes. That's right, you heard me, 512 gigabytes. That's enough to last you a lifetime. Just think about what will happen if you don't get this iPhone. All those important calls and emails are going to be breaking up and taking forever to load. Also, you're always going to have to be worrying about whether you have enough storage or not. Don't you want to make sure you never run out of storage room for all those pictures you take capturing amazing moments with your families and loved ones? Go now and buy the new iPhone 11. It will have you bursting with joy.
Right, so those are some student samples, and so the students were able to record and make a little video that way, right? And so it's kind of like a Google slide, but they were able to kind of record themselves talking and add pictures and music, and relatively pretty easy that way. Another lesson I'll do is with rhetoric, and so in English 11 we'll read like the Patrick Henry speech at the Virginia Convention, and so we'll read through the speech, and we'll analyze and annotate the speech, looking for examples of rhetoric, and then after doing all the book work, then I'll have them create a Google video slides, and so. right? So I'll kind of give them the instructions. And so using the speech at the Virginia Convention, create a video promoting a revolution, right? And so the first slide, I want them to include the setting. And so describe the world of the Americas in 1775, right? And so the second slide, I'll tell them, you know, what problems do the colonialists of 1775 struggle with? And so I want them to use information from the speech. And the third slide, kind of a what could be, describe a better world where the problems doesn't exist. What does Frederick Henry want to happen? And the fourth slide's a solution. So share Patrick Henry idea that will solve the problem. And fifth slide, the reward, what will the colonists' lives improve after the solution becomes a reality? And the sixth slide, how can you help? What's the first thing the colonists should do to make this positivity change happen? Right? So they have to use the information from the speech in using this slide, right? And then I want them to appeal to emotion, as well as the logos, the logical appeal, and the ethical appeal. Right, and then when they're done, I want them to share the video. So they got to create a link to the video and add the link to the Google Classroom page there. So I kind of use the video a lot, kind of at the beginning of the year when I'm teaching rhetoric. Those that are maybe in science, you might explain like a process, right? So explain the process of, I don't know, photosynthesis. Maybe those in math might be able to have them like go through the steps of solving an equation, right? Or kind of different things as well there. So here we go. So let's go ahead and we'll get a chance to explore here. So we're going to go to Adobe Express. Thanks. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll go to Adobe Express. So there's a link in the chat, right? So I'll have you go to Adobe Express, and so go ahead and create a teacher account. So use your use the email. I think with the school email, you're going to get more freebies. And so personal email, you won't get as many freebies. Right, and so we're going to check out the Adobe Express here. All right, so when we get to Adobe Express, you'll see a screen kind of like mine there, and there's different things you can make. So we can make a video, you can make a graphic, a web page, there's draw pictures, a new one, right? But today we're going to start off and create a video, right? And so to make a video, different ways you can do it. I can click that make a video, the orange box with the sea turtle on it. Or there's a blue plus button. So anything you want to do with Adobe, you kind of work with you can make with the plus button there. Right? So I'll click on make a video. Right? And so over on the left side are all the different tools to use. Right? And so to add text, you're going to add the T for text. Elements would be like clip art, photos. You can add photos there as well. Students can make their own account. Yeah, so students will log in. They'll have a student account, so they'll use their student email account to create that there as well, right? To add video, to add slides, down at the bottom, there's add scenes. To make the scenes longer, to make the slide longer, sometimes they put a lot of words and it's only 5 seconds, so you can lengthen the slide, so you can add seconds to each slide there. And we could add movies as well there, right? And so, right, so the first slide, I tell them like what's needed in the first slide, so I can add some text. And so I can like search like different fonts, or I can type in text on my own. So I'll add the text in there as well. At the top, I can change the background color, the theme, the margins, the resize it. Let's see. Over for the media, we can add different pictures or photos or music, right? Grids as well. So there's like, they can kind of go into lots of details, adding things, things of their own there. The upload button, right? So if they need to download pictures and upload pictures, they use the upload button to add in their pictures as well, right? In the media, they can kind of look for photos, so they can upload photos from the device, or they can search if there's any photos online for free photos. They could do that as well, right? And then the audio, they can record their voice. They can also add background music, so there's different little musics they can add. All I have to do is like click on it, and so it makes it very easy to add audio as well. And then down at the bottom, there's kind of an add scenes, or if they need to make the scene longer, they can stretch it out, right? And so they can add seconds to their scenes as well there. So that's kind of the basic ideas there, right? And so I kind of tell them, I give them the instructions on what I want in each slide. And so, right, so those that are totally lost, have no idea what to do, I try to make it like step by step. And so I want this on one slide, this on another, this on a third slide, and they're able to put it all together that way as well. Right? Yeah, all the music I think is okay for middle school students. This is just kind of a just general quiet background music. So there's no foul language in this one, if that's kind of what you're asking there. And let's see. All right, and then when they're all done, there's a share button at the top right, the blue share button, right? So they have to come up with a name for it, and then they have to, this is kind of where the problems mostly happen, is on the access. So right, anyone with the link can see it. That's the best way to make sure everybody can see it. And then I have them copy the link and then add the link to the Google Classroom, right? So I do that one. Or there is this Google Classroom button. I haven't really tried that one too much. Sometimes that causes some problems. Sometimes it doesn't always transfer over. I always find it easier to make a link and then add the link to the Google Classroom. But the problem is to make sure that the teacher can view it. All right, so that's kind of get you started. So go ahead and I'll have you play around with it. So think about what would a video, something you could want the students to create. So if they want to like do like a little chapter review, explain the chapter of a story in like 4 or 5 slides, or explain the process of DNA replication, or how the limbic system works. I don't know. So think of what you could use to use this in your classroom. And so we'll work for about 10 minutes, kind of explore, create a little video, and then we'll come back and we'll share out what we use this for. Sounds good? All right, so there we go. So go ahead, 10 minutes, and you can kind of explore making a video. Oh yes, I muted my microphone to let you guys explore. Let's see. So John Wood wants to know, how can I play my video? So let's see what we got here. So over at the kind of the bottom left, there's a little play button. So you can hit the little play button for what that would look like there. Right, and so that little play button at the bottom left, you can kind of see how that would work there. And let's see, also they kind of changed this on me. There used to be a preview button. I'll have to take a look here. So I'll have to explore some more. And they moved my preview button on there. Yeah, so everything's automatically saved. So if you go back to your home screen, it's going to be saved under my projects. Great. So as people were working, what did you come up with? What were some ways you can have students create a slide? What were some ideas for using this in the classroom? Let's see. So Maria, so I don't know if this is on the waffle. I know Jen is checking in with IT on how to get more of the Adobe sites added. So the way I do it is I always go through the, I always just do the link with the Adobe Express. It could be under Clever. So you might check the Clever portal. It might be under the Clever one as well. So any ways to use this in math or health? All right. So keep thinking. So keep sharing, coming up with ways. All right. So first was this video. So that's one way to have this one. Yeah, so ways to teach this, John. Yeah, right. So you kind of have to like teach the students how to use this, right? So you got to teach them how to log in, how to find the video, how to add slides, how to use all the tent. So first time I use this site, right? I just gotta go through a step-by-step process of ways to work this. Right. Right. Class introductions. That's always good. Use ones. Right. Design skits, video commercials, movie trailer for historic events. Right. Making little videos to explain concepts. Little problem solutions. Great. All right. Another aspect on the Adobe Express is making a web page, right? So I use a web page when students have a length report to give, right? And so maybe instead of writing a research essay, I have them make a web page, right? Or if they have to fill out a longer bit of information, right? Make a web page. So, I teach essays and essays are good, but every now and then, I don't want to do an essay, so I'd rather make a web page, right? So for English 11, there's in the Springboard, the textbook we used to use was called Springboard, and they would have a the information about transcendentalism. So I'd have the students have to read about transcendentalism, research transcendentalism, and then I have them make them a web page that one. Or also in the Springboard book, there was information about the Harlem Renaissance, and the students have to research. So I had the students read the information about the Harlem Renaissance and then turn it into a web page. Or like the English 9 students in Springboard, they had to learn about going to colleges and find out about a college. So I had the students research about a particular college, and then they could make a web page there. And I like this because they can easily add photos and other information to their web page. And it's relatively easy. I know Chamisal Tennis Club uses Adobe Express web page for their information. So this is like a real world application or business that students are able to use, and then they'll be able to apply this to real life. And so this is like a real life tools they could use in the real workplace. Okay. So for the lesson in the Springboard book, this was lesson 4.3. And so I gave them some links about transcendentalism. And so they'd go to the links and to read about transcendentalism. And then I just had them answer the questions. And these are the questions from the book, right? So I'm using the school approved textbooks, and I'm using the school approved material. And then I'm just kind of adding in this web page there to do that, right? Or the Harlem Renaissance, right? So I had them, gave them some links and had them read the book about the Harlem Renaissance. And then these questions are straight from the book. And so I'm using the classroom materials, and by just having them make this web page there for the Harlem Renaissance. Or same thing with like the college, right? So line up about that, right? And so we'll take a look at Valerie's sample. Right, and so there's like a title page, so transcendentalism, and they put their name on there, right? And you can kind of scroll down, and I basically, have them copy the question and with the answer. And so what's their view of God? And so they can add a picture with the information there, right? And what are their values? So I have them copy the question with their answers that they answered there, right? And so again, they can get the information, put it on a web page, and add some pictures there as well there. Right. So that one is pretty good to use there, right? So they can add in that information. And we'll take a look at another student sample. Right, so again, I have them type in, there's like a title page, and they put their name on it, right? And then they just kind of copy the question with their research and their answer there, right? And so they're finding out, they're using the information, but they kind of putting it on a web page there. So it's a little different that way as well. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and let's create a web page there, right? And so let's go ahead to Adobe Express, and we'll see about making a web page. Right, so to go back to the home page, I'll hit the little Adobe Express icon. And so I go back to the home page there, right? And so on this home page, we're going to build a web page, right? Oh, and so you can go with the purple blue rocket, or I can hit the plus sign, and so I can scroll down to web page. Right, and so first thing, you got to add a title, right? And so you can add a title about something. So, right, so if I'm researching about the Harlem Renaissance, right, so I can type in. So I'll type in like the title, And then they can, and then for the subtitle, right, I always have them type in their name. And then there's a little plus button. So on these web pages, a plus button means you can always add something, right? So I always have them like pick a little photo to go with the title page there. And so they could upload a picture about the Harlem Renaissance from the device, or maybe I could search for free photos there, right? And so Harlem Renaissance, I want to think of a photo that would go with that. So maybe like I'll type in like jazz. So maybe jazz music kind of goes with the Harlem Renaissance, right? And so I can kind of see, is there anything that would kind of tie in with the Harlem Renaissance? So maybe I like that picture there, right? And all I have to do is like click that picture and it automatically comes onto the web page there, right? And so then I scroll down, I'm ready to start writing my story. And so I can add my plus sign. So plus sign, everything I need to add there, right? So if I want to add some text, right? So I'll have them go from my document. I'll have them copy and paste the answer, the question with the answer there, right? So I can type in I'll have them copy and paste the question and the answer, right? So that's kind of boring though if all we're doing is words, right? So we could also add in photos, right? So we can change in the photo there. And so I can add a little picture to go with it there, right? And so we can easily add in a picture there. Now I always kind of show the kids, right? Kind of a fun thing to do is if I hit the fill screen button, right? I can hit the fill screen button and there's a caption. So I have room to type in words on the picture. So that's kind of fun, right? So I can type in I can copy in the question, the answer, so that it fills in the picture that way as well. Now with if you're adding words with the picture, you're limited to how many characters you can use. So there's a little limit that way as well. And so, but there's also, right, so I could do like split layout. So I could have words on one, pictures on one side, words on another. And so there's different little things to share there, right? And so then when I'm ready, right, I can hit like the present button and then they get a chance to see that one there. Right, so I can kind of see how the website looks, right? So I'm looking for that when I'm making videos. They used to have a little present button on the video there, so I'm still looking for that one there as well. All right, so let's go ahead and We'll give you a few minutes here to play with the website. So go ahead and explore the website and think about what you can have the students do to make a website. So would they make a website about themselves or make a website about an era in history or a website about an author, or think of things of how you can make a website there. Okay, so we'll take a few moments here, take 10 minutes and explore making a website. Let's see, Morgan, how's the web page on Adobe different from Google Sites? Very similar. So I just find that the Adobe Express web page is easier to use, simpler. It doesn't have as many options as the Google Sites. But sometimes, Morgan, the students are unable to access Adobe Express for some reason. Every now and then I'll have like a couple students that are banned or blocked from using Adobe Express. So then I just have them make a Google site instead of an Adobe Express website. let's see, at the top of the web page, there's themes. Themes are how you change the fonts. So changing the font size is the themes there. And so you can add videos, GIFs. So there's different little tools to add. When I'm teaching this one, I just have them kind of do the text and the pictures. So I just kind of do the two basic ones. But as students get more and more adept, they can make their websites a little more exciting. Yes, Morgan, the students should be able to collaborate and share their website together. If over at the top right, there's a share button and you can invite collaborators. And so they can invite a collaborator, so you have to type in somebody to share it with, and then they can give that person access there. Right, and so that they could kind of copy that link. So there's the share button allows for collaboration. Oh, I forgot. When they're all done, I want them to put this onto the Google Classroom, right? So when they're all done with their website, I have the over at the top right, I have them select share and publish to web. And this one, they have to give a little title, and I have them create a link. So I'll have them pick a link. And so when they make that link, then on the Google Classroom page, I'm going to have them add a link to the Google Classroom page. Right? So they have to copy the link and add it to the Google Classroom page. There is this Google Classroom button where you can connect it that way. Sometimes I've had trouble adding with the Google Classroom. So sometimes for me, I find it easier just copying a link than adding a link to that specific Google Classroom page. Let's see, so Charlie, I normally, for the Google Classroom, I make an assignment. And so they, on the assignments, I have the instructions and the link on the assignment page. And so they just kind of add the file to the Google Classroom assignment page. And then again, so I'm teaching this, right? So the first time we do a web page, right, I go through it step by step. So I show them how to access how to get to Adobe Express, how to select web page, and I kind of type in, right? So I show this like on the TV screen, the ViewSonic, and I'll see, like everybody do what I do, right? So we open, and then I type in Harlem Renaissance, and type in my name. So I have the kids do that. And I should have them pick a picture, and I show them how to cut and paste the answers from the Google Doc onto the web page. So we kind of do step by step. So the first day, right, takes like, I don't know, half hour or an hour to kind of how to make a web page. And then after that, once you show them how to do it, then they're able to kind of next time we make a web page, it's a little easier. Right, so I know, so like I'll do like a half hour or an hour to teach a video, or a half hour, an hour to teach a web page, or a half hour, an hour to teach a post. So so at the beginning of the year, right? So we're doing we're going through it step by step there. So yeah, so I guess in total, a couple hours to teach the website. All right, so what are you thinking? So how do you think you could use this in the classroom? So what type of website would you want the students to make? Is there a way to have a website in an algebra classroom or in a art classroom? Yeah, and Alondra says a website about a country research project. So you research a country. All right. So we kind of went over the Adobe video, and then web page. Teach vocabulary pairing with matching pictures. That could work as well. Great. All right. And then the third aspect I use this for is a post or making a graphic, right? So I use a post or graphics to create digital posters, and students can easily combine photos and words. They can make posters there. And so students can create memes or movie posters or poetry. So I have them write poetry and put a picture with it. Or they can make wanted posters, right? If there's like a villain in the story, they can create a wanted poster. Advertisements, any types of posters there, right? And so it saves time. So students can easily make a post. So they can add a picture with some words in, right, 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes. And so it saves time. I know sometimes if you give students a poster to draw on, right, they take the entire period to, I know, draw a flag, right? So this way it can kind of speed up their time, and so they don't waste as much time having to draw out things. Saves paper, right? And so saves paper and also saves storage room, right? So all you have to do is save this on the Google Classroom, right? So you don't have to have storage for all these posters there. And you can display it on the LCD projector or the ViewSonic, and so it easily shows up there nice and big. I find this easy for beginners to use, right? So basically, all you have to do is type in some words and add a picture, but it can also become more complex. So those that are really artistic or advanced, they can find like just the right color or just the right font, and so they can really go in and be advanced on their information there, right? Some things I'll use like Adobe Spark Adobe Express is to create a post, right? Like for an advertisement. So in junior English, we read Zora Neale Hurston's "Their Eyes Were Watching God." And so I want them to show their knowledge about the story, right? And so they could create an advertisement for, there's a character by the name of Joe Starks, and he has a store. So they could create like a little advertisement for a store, or for a blues club in Jacksonville, or in the story there's a hurricane, so they can come up with a warning of a hurricane. So I want them to use information from the book about the people and events from the novel in their post creation. And then for this one, I want them to download the post as a PDF and add the PDF to the Google Classroom. And so for example, right? So they can make a little post here, and in the story, their eyes are watching God. There's a mad dog, a rabid dog there, and so they have to kind of have this information, this little warning sign about a mad dog there. Or another thing is there's a little advertisement for Joe Stark's store, and so the story takes place in a place called Eatonville in Florida, and they could add some pictures from about a store, right? And whatever you need, we got it. If you're a little lost and not quite sure what you're looking for, Janie can help you fit your needs. Right? And so they're able to make a little post that way as well. So it kind of can be pretty fast, or they can kind of get more in depth as well there. Okay. And so they can go to Adobe Express. It used to be called Adobe Express Spark, now it's called Adobe Express. And they can create a poster there. And then for this one, I want them to save it as a PDF and download the PDF to the Google Classroom. Now, this is sometimes where it gets a little confusing. So some students have trouble with downloading the assignment. So I had Brian Tuminelli create like a little video explaining how to download and upload to the Google Classroom. So let me go ahead and we'll share this little video on how to download and upload a document.
Here's how you upload a document that you saved to your computer to Google Classroom to turn in an assignment. It's a pretty simple process, but here's what you do. You go to the assignment that you're looking to turn in, that you're looking to submit to, and I'm going to open up just a random one here. And if you wanted to add an assignment, say you added a Canva poster, an Adobe Spark creation, and you downloaded it to your computer, all you need to do is go to this button where it says Add or Create. You hit that button, and then you click File. When you click File, a window is going to pop up to ask you to upload. You'll see the term upload right here. You want to click this blue Browse button, and up will pop your assignment or your files. You will have to find out where your file is saved. If you saved it to your desktop, you want to look for your desktop. If you saved it to a certain area, you have to remember where it's saved to. Maybe it's saved to your downloads folder. In this case, I saved my topic to the desktop. So I'm going to select my image, hit open, and it will now attach. And you can see here what I selected, it attached. It's right here. I could double check by opening it to make sure it's there. There it is. It's attached to the assignment, and then all I have to do is hit turn in. And when I hit turn in, that attachment is there.
Great. All right, so I always find that that's like the most difficult part for students is how to download an assignment and then upload there. So let's go ahead and we'll make a digital poster. So I'll hit the little Adobe Express home button there. And so I'll go back to my home screen there, and we're going to make a graphic. So to make a graphic, you can hit the green box that says create a graphic, or you can hit the plus button at the top left, and we're going to make a poster, or there's little flyers, different things to create as well there. So you can kind of pick and choose. So I'll hit create a graphic, right? And so over on the left are all our tools. So text, this is how you add text to our project there, right? And so we can type in, and so you can kind of change the themes, the backgrounds. There's ways to change the font, right? So you can add effects, and there's so much you can do with just adding the text there. Also, over on the left, we can add in elements. Elements would be little shapes or icons or pictures. If they have a picture to add, right, they can go to the upload section, and they could upload something from the internet and then download it onto their picture there as well, right? Media, again, like the photos, so they can search for the free photos and easily add it there or change those around as well. Grids is a way to change the look, so you can have different information on your poster, right? Looks like there's a translate button, so you can make it if you're in Spanish, right? So you can have them practice their translation skills if they want to work on adding in Spanish or other words as well, right? And so post, I do a lot with posts there, and so they could, or making graphics, right? So if you find like a key, what would you think was the most important quote from that passage? So type in the most important quote and add a picture, right? And so that's relatively easy. And so that's like a quick little check for understanding at the end of the day. So if you have like 10 minutes at the end of the periods, right, find a quote, add a picture to it. Or writing a poetry, right? So write your own poem. And so you can type up your own poem and then add a picture with it. And so that makes it, I always kind of notice that they're adding art to their writing gets a little better as well there. Right? And so they could also, like, using the template button, right? So I can search maybe like if there's like a villain in the story and I want to search for like a wanted poster, right? So they can find a wanted poster and then add in pictures and change the words around so they can find the villain in the story there as well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take our time here to make a post. We also get a break here. So we're going to come back at 11:15 to go over the other sites as well. Can you make worksheets? I don't know. So maybe you can check the templates and see if there's worksheets there, Maria. So you find that one as well there. So for this one, when I'm all done, for the graphics, for the digital posters, I find downloading to be best. So for when they're making digital posters, I want them to download the poster as a PDF and then, or PNG. I like them to download it and then to upload it. Some students, though, really don't want to download for some reason, and so they'd rather share it. This is where we kind of have problems. If they share it, they got to make sure that I can access it. And so they got to change it to anyone with the link can view it, right? And so sometimes when they create a link, they got to make sure that I can see it. And so they got to change the access button. That's the hardest part with you creating a post there. Right? All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll have a round, make a poster, go to the bathroom, do a stretch, and we'll go over Canva and storyboard that at 11:15. So Maria, I just did like a search for templates. I typed in education worksheets and some sheets came up there, so you can kind of add or create it.
Thank you. I was playing it. I was playing with it too. I saw a few.
Yeah.
But it looks very similar to Canva.
Yes, you're exactly right. So yeah, we're going to go over that after at 11:15. But yes, so I teach Adobe Express to the students like for the first couple months, and then I'll do Canva for like the second couple months, and then after that, I let them choose, and so they get to pick right which site they want to use. But Adobe Express and Canva very similar.
I just love that they're both free to us and the students.
Yeah, so as educators, yeah, it's free.
Thank you.
Welcome back. So we'll continue on. One thing I forgot to talk about was with the Adobe Express making a video. I like to use Adobe Express making a video for those students that are hesitant or do not want to present in front of the classroom. And for those students that don't want to present in front of the classroom, they can make a video and then we can show the video instead. So that for those students that are really shy, I like the Adobe Express video for that way as well. And then just having the students be engaged and be active and creating something, being a little alternative assessment. The students enjoy that, and they're gonna you'll have less disruptions in the classroom if the students are actively involved in doing being a little more creative with their adding arts and pictures to their assignments. And so it's a great way for student engagement as well as another alternative form of assessment. All right, so that first part was we were working on Adobe Express. And so now we'll kind of work on something called Canva. So there's a link for Canva's in the chat there. And so canva.com. And so Canva, very similar to Adobe Express. The things you can do on Canva, you can do on Adobe Express, and things you can do on Adobe Express, you can do on Canva as well. And so I'll have the students use like one site for a couple months, and then I'll teach the second site for a couple months. And then in the second semester, right, once the students are comfortable with both sites, then they can choose. And so when it's time to create a poster or something, right, they can choose which sites they like and which sites works for them. But I want to teach them, right, I want to teach them both sites so that they can expand their tools and use of tech, right? And I want them to go beyond just using Google Slide. A lot of times students, they sometimes are a little hesitant on learning something new and they just want to do what they know, right? And so they do Google Slide. And, you know, these other sites can be a lot more advanced than just what Google Slide offers there, right? And then both Canva and Adobe Express, right? So easy for beginners, right? But it could be for those that are more advanced and creative and more technologically savvy, right? They can go up beyond just the basics that way as well. For Canva, I kind of used for my academic language and literature students this last year. And so I had them make a video on Canva. And so we were working on reading a pie chart. And so with the academic language students, one of the things they have to learn is reading charts. And so I had them practice reading a chart. And so I wanted them to make a video. And so I said, create a video on canva.com that explains the pie chart on page 14 of the issues book. Add a slide of each pie chart, insert text and images, add time to each slide, change the color of the background. So I kind of give them the explanation there. And then I kind of tell them, or I give them a little scaffold, right? So on the first slide, the title slide, I want them to put the title, Adolescents Reported Sleep. And then the second slide, there was the pie chart for 6th grade. And so I kind of gave them the sentence frame on how to fill in for the pie chart, and they had to put in the answers. And then I wanted them, instead for the 6th grade, add in the 9th grade pie charts. And then for the 12th grade pie chart. So the students were able to make a video explaining the pie charts, right? And so, but I kind of helped them out there with giving them the sentence frames. Or on Canva, they could make a poster, right? And so, so it said, create a poster on canva.com that gives tips on a good night of sleep. How can people sleep better? So use the chart at the bottom, page 8 in the creation. Add pictures as well as text to the poster. All right, and then when done. So they have to use the book. So I want them to go back and reading the book on what was the information and put that information onto the poster, right? So I'm checking for their understanding and their fluency in achieving the English language there. So I use this for, you know, ALL students are able to use Canva and Adobe Express, as well as the honors and AP students, right? So they can start basic or go as advanced as they want. For the Great Gatsby, I'll have them make a poster, right? And so create a graphic post or a poster on on Canva, and students are to write a letter as a character in the book. And so first students are to design stationery and add photos for the character. After the design of the stationery, students are to write a letter as the character using information from the book. So this would be after chapter 4 of The Great Gatsby, and they can pick which character they'd like to write as. And so they could write a letter as Daisy and explain the relationship with Tom and Gatsby and explain the wedding that in The Great Gatsby. Or they could write a letter as Tom and write about his relationships with women, specifically Daisy and Myrtle. Or they could choose to write a letter as Gadsby and explain his relationship with Daisy and explain his life. Or they could write a letter as Meyer Wolfsheim. Right? And so they're going to add art with the writing. And so when they add the art to the writing, it makes the writing even better. So over on the left, right, we see a post they can make on Canva. And so they can make some stationery. And so you have to pick a character, put the character's name and design add some art to the stationery, right? And so Gatsby, he loves parties and he throws great parties and he's this kind of a rock star there. And so he loves that. So they kind of add that there. And then they could write this letter. And so I can kind of see if they understand the book there. Or over on the right side, we see Daisy, and they write a letter as Daisy Buchanan, and they add some string of pearls and some daisy flowers, and then they could explain the story there. So it gives a little summary, so I can see that they understand the story, and they add in some artwork there as well there. So it's kind of fun. They could add pictures and images, and then they could create the information. Great. So John, you're making kind of comic hero books, right? So yeah, so you can put this out there, and right, so easy to kind of download and upload. And so for those students, I've noticed over the years, I don't know, it seems like the artistic skills of students is becoming less and less. So getting students to create their art on the post is fun, is good as well. Now, I don't do this all the time, right? Every now and then, I'll have the kids, use the colored pencils and paper, but other times I'll have them make it on the technology, right? So I kind of give them variety, change it up a little bit as well. Right? So here we go. We're going to go to Canva. So we'll have you go to canva.com. And so log in with your teacher Gmail account. So similar to what we did with Adobe Express. Right, and we'll have a little chance to play around on Canva. Right, so Canva, same type of thing here, right? So there are print products, so I like to use the print ones. There's videos, websites, presentations, right? Wide variety of different things you could create. So very similar to Adobe Express, right? So again, right, I teach Canva. I kind of will teach that for a couple months. And so first time we use Canva, I kind of have to go through all the different, I can go step by step, creating a post or a picture or a poster or a video. So it kind of goes step by step there as well. So we'll kind of have a little chance to create a print. So again, so kind of over on the, I always kind of like to go to print products to make a poster, but there's different ways to get there, right? So you could always kind of do a search or create a design. But let's say I do a print product and right, so there's like flyers and things that could work, or I'll just kind of make a let's see, popular, right? So I could just kind of choose a poster. So I'll select a poster to create, and right, so very similar to Adobe Express. So over on the left we have the text, so you can add the words, right? There's the upload, so you can download something from the internet and upload it, upload pictures, elements, right? We got shapes, graphics, stickers. So we have the little elements to add in there as well. So we kind of have that to kind of in there, right? And so you can kind of add that as well. And then the share button over on the top right, right? So if I want to collaborate with somebody, right, I could add somebody to edit. So I could share this with somebody so they could work together on it. And then for me, I always like to download it. So download this as a PNG or a PDF. So I download it and then upload it as well. Right. Then besides the poster, right, the video, right? So I could choose a little video to make, and so you can kind of pick and choose. And again, we're kind of adding text and kind of has a little toolbar, the toolbar position, so you can change the time. Music, I found the Adobe Express was easier to add music to than this one, but you can kind of add music as well and different information there as well there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and for this one to share. So for the video, again, so I like to make a link and add, and so I don't like to copy the link and then add the link to the Google Classroom. There is the button though to the Google Classroom, so sometimes that works, sometimes not. So kind of just depends. So, but from my experience, I always like to just kind of create the link and then add it directly to the Google Classroom. But they just got to make sure that they change the access so that I can see the video there as well. Great. So go ahead and play around with Adobe Spark, or I'm sorry, play around with Canva. So you can make a poster, video. I haven't tried the website too much on this one, so you can see the website. And so I'll take 10 minutes and explore Canva and see what you could do. What can you make for Canva? Yeah, so just kind of looking at my old Canva assignments, right? So I had them for the academic language learners. We made like wanted posters for the book Shane, and for they also kind of had for the academic language learners, there was like tips on how to get a good night's sleep, and there was like a money unit on money, on how to on ways to use money, or they had to come up with the arguments. They kind of have to list like 3 arguments for learning a second language, or they have reasons for kind of give a pro con. They could do that one there. They can make little videos. And then for English 11 at the beginning of the year, they kind of read a story called Coming to America, and they have to have like tips for immigrants, for people new to America. So based on the story, what did that character use to integrate into America, and so they could use that information in creating a little pamphlet or a flyer on how to become, or tips for new immigrants to America. Right, digital posters, right? So you can, Morgan was saying you could kind of make little posters and put on the Google Classroom, and so they could do it for running for ASB or Japan Club. I know we'll make posters for End ALS Run, or different things that they'll make. I know Canva is used, right, in many industries. So I was at the airport the other day, and somebody was on Canva making some sort of poster or some sort of websites, and so I saw that they were kind of getting ready to put that on their professional websites. I know Canva is used in the real world, so teaching them Canva gives them skills for when they graduate, and so they'll be able to use this out in the real world as well. All right, other ideas for Canva? So Canva, Adobe Express, very similar, right? And so, to get the students to use it, right, I tell them you have to use Canva today, right? And so they use Canva for like a month, get comfortable using Canva, and then the next month I said, all right, you can't use Canva, you have to use Adobe Express today. And so they get comfortable using Adobe Express. And then once they learn the site, and then they could choose later on which one they like to use, right? So I just want to make sure that they have options. And so I try to get them out of their comfort zone, and so try to get them to try something new that way. All right. So Canva, Adobe Express, I find very easy to use in the classroom, and so use it all the time. So you can always come up with create a poster or create some sort of project to go with the assignment. All right. Another site I like to use to add a little art or a little interest into the classroom. So besides Canva and Adobe Express, I like to use Storyboard That. And Storyboard That is an online site that makes storyboards. Right? And so you can use this in freshman English, middle school English, all English classes. And so we got like a basic plot. So a storyboard is a way to draw out a basic plot. So plot, we start with the beginning of the story, the exposition, and then we have some rising action. Things happen in the story until we get to the turning point of the story, the climax, and we get some falling action, and then we get our resolution or denouement. Right? I know before making movies, right, they like to have a storyboard, and so this is used in the film industry, also used in writing industries. So storyboards used kind of throughout the telling stories that way. In the past, right, I would have the students create a storyboard just kind of basically, right? So they take a piece of paper and they fold it up into 6 squares, and they just kind of have an exposition, a little picture to go with the beginning of the story, and a little quote there. And then a couple rising actions, the climax, falling action, resolution. Right? And so when I make a storyboard, I kind of do it the old-fashioned way, but they can do it automatically on the Storyboard That. Right? So I use this with my academic language learners. So it said like, after reading the effects of a second language on the brain by Panettoan, create a storyboard on Storyboard That. And so I said, create a 3-panel storyboard on 3 experts from their reading, stating their reasons to learn a second language. So the language learners had to go back to the story, find what were 3 experts, what did they say, and just kind of use that information there. So I'm just kind of making sure that they understand the reading, right? And so like panel 1, I gave them, right? So find something Janet Worker said on page 27 and TC Cooper, page 27 or page 28. Or I kind of gave them some other places to go with, right? So I kind of, it was explicit in my instructions, right? So find 3 people and kind of give them some pages on where to go. And so with the storyboard, you're going to add a scene, a character, and speech bubbles. That's how you kind of add the words there. And then you can edit the scenes and the characters. And then when you're all done, you want to download the Storyboard That as a PDF and then add it to the Google Classroom. So we could use this. I use this in the academic language classroom, or with like To Kill a Mockingbird, I have them create a storyboard for chapter 28. So kind of a way to summarize the chapter. Right? And so I have them create a storyboard with 6 boxes with the exposition, couple rising actions, the climax, falling action, resolution. And I kind of give them a page number so the kids aren't lost trying to spend all their time looking at the pages where to put in their information. Right? So I kind of give them the pages to use. And again, we're just kind of adding a setting, characters, and a little quote so it can kind of understand the story. Or I'll do that with Romeo and Juliet. So create a storyboard for Romeo and Juliet, right? And so they pick a scene. So Act 1, Scene 5, or Act 2, Scene 2, or Act 3, Scene 1. So I pick a scene, and then so I kind of put the information there. And then I tell them they could rewrite the dialogue into modern English. So instead of the Shakespearean, how would we would say it today? Or instead of modern, maybe a slang. So maybe like put it into like an Aussie dialect, or you know, how would somebody in downtown Salinas say it, or somebody, maybe a cowboy or something like that. So I can kind of add a little slang that way. So I try to make it, you know, simple, basic for those students that are just kind of the basic level, but those students that want to be advanced, right, we can kind of change it into the wordings. And so we can make it advanced too for those that want an advanced storyboard. All right, so next thing we'll do is go to Storyboard That. All right, so I'll have you go to storyboardthat.com and we'll have you log in. So you're gonna have to kind of log in with your teacher accounts. And we're just going to do the free. We're just going to do free versions here. So storyboard that is again less and less information on the free stuff. So you used to be able to get like 6 boxes for any. Now we have to do like 2, 3 boxes, right? And so kind of log in. So we're just doing free information, and we want to create a storyboard. So there should be a green button that says create a storyboard. Yep. So you go to storyboard that, and so I want to make something called, I want to choose something that says create a storyboard. And so I'm just going to do the free version. Right, and so you gotta give a little title for it, right? So if they're summarizing a chapter, maybe there's a problem and solution, right? So maybe I'm gonna go with problem and solution work there, right? So I gotta give a little title. And so I have my 3 boxes here, right? And so over on the right are kind of like my tools. And so we can kind of add cells or change the layout around, right? But over at the top, there's something that says scenes, right? And this is the background. And so these are the scenes you want to choose from, right? And so there's outdoor schools, transportation, classical homes, right? Historical, country, rustic. There's lots of little scenes to work with, right? So in the English 11 curriculum, there was a scene about there's a problem with on the farm. And so there has to do with getting the workers' rights. And so I have the students will like choose a scene. So we can get like the farm there. And then they have to add a character, right? And so there's different characters they could choose from, right? And so I just tell the students we're just looking for free information, right? And so we're just kind of looking for different little things we could work for, right? And if you want to search, there's a search bar. So maybe I'm looking for a farmer, and I'm just wanting to get the kind of free information there, right? So I find a little picture for a farmer, and I could add it in there. And then with my character, right? So I could change the person's hair, their skin tone, right? So I can randomize the colors. There's also some poses, so if the person's speaking. And so here, for those students that really want to figure out just the right look for the character, right? They can put that in there. So I have them add a character, add the scene, add a character, and then there's speech bubbles. Right, so speech bubble, this is where the character has to say something. So I'll drag in the speech bubble, and then I could type in the words. And so we could add in the words and the information, right? And let's see, those that are like Spanish, if you're in a different French, right, there's the different little accents or tildes to kind of add there for the different languages as well. Right, and so like for a basic one, maybe we'll do the setting, and then scene 2 will be the problem, and then scene 3 will be the solution there. And so we could do this with stories. You might do this explaining the process of photosynthesis. You could talk about creating a storyboard for how to run a 100-meter dash. You could explain the process of making, I know, an omelet. So different ways of creating a storyboard there. Okay. So we'll go ahead and take about 10 minutes, explore storyboard that. See if you can come up with what would be some good uses for the classroom. How could you use this maybe in the math classroom, or how could you use this in the health classroom there? Okay. So take a few moments, and other thing, I forgot to point out when I'm all done. So when I'm all done and I want to download this and put this on the Google Classroom. So I go to save and exit, right? And I have my save and exit. And so this has my recent storyboard, and I'm going to hit download. So I hit the download button, and then I like to download it as a PDF. So I download it as a PDF and then upload it to the Google Classroom. That's kind of the hardest part for teaching students. So students don't really know how to download and upload very easily. So that's something I have to teach the students. Right, so I've done this with, right, so explain like the effects of second language on the brain. So explain, choose like three people, three experts there. Or we had the Roberto Acuna talks about farm workers. That's from the Springboard book, and they had to pick, right, the setting, the problem solution. Other things we'll do is right, teach chapter explain chapter 28 of To Kill a Mockingbird, and there's a little ham costume. So this is for teachers. So you always want to like search for things. So we can add the ham costume in for To Kill a Mockingbird there. All right. So go ahead and take a few moments here and explore storyboard that. All right. We had a question on how do you like arrange things. So, right. So with the ham costume, I could put the ham costume over Scout. And there's a layers over on the right. There's a layers button. So I could bring it forward or backwards. So the tools are for layering or when I pick my thing over on the right. And so there's ways to edit. If I find a character and I create it just right, I can copy that character and add it on there. And then if I don't like something, there's the X for the delete, the rotate. So all the tools are going to be over on the right of the screen there. I know the website offers great backgrounds, lots of different settings and backgrounds, and so or just like looking for something, right? So if, like for me, if I'm looking for like Great Gatsby, I'm looking for some large billboards with eyes on them, right? It has that for the Dr. T.J. Ethelberg, or it has the ham costume. If I'm looking for like the most dangerous game, I'm looking for a swamp or some vampire-looking character, right? So I have that for the story of the most dangerous game. So I have like kind of a wide variety of characters and settings and objects to place there. So doing the search bar helps out with the students as well there. Problem is that we're getting less and less free stuff. And so I know with Storyboard that instead of having, it used to be able to make six boxes for free. So now we just get 3 boxes for free. So I have the kids have to make two different storyboards. And they're only allowed to create 2 storyboards a month, I believe. And so you have to delete. You have to delete if you're. You have to delete past projects if you're working that same month, in order to get your two storyboard max. All right, so that's Storyboard that. Any other ideas on how to use that in the classroom? Kids really like it. It's fun for the kids to use. And so again, I'm like really explicit. So I tell them like, I want this in one box and this information in the second box. So I try to be as explicit as possible. And I try to tell them, like, give them where the information's at, so they aren't wasting their whole time looking for information, so they can go about creating their storyboards. Right, but those students that are not too savvy with technology, it's pretty easy to use. And then those students that are super into technology and storyboards, they can get very creative and get very advanced on this one. Okay. Oh, there's one other thing I forgot to point out was is it the shapes or the infographics? Oh, there's the worksheets. Not too many worksheets. There's a little bit of science. So there's a little bit of things to use there. You can kind of use flowcharts and things like that. So you can kind of play around with there's like flowcharts or different things to use for the classroom. So you can kind of play around with the different little added information there. Cool. All right, and let's see. All right, so this is kind of had create something for on Storyboard that I had them create some for a Great Gatsby, so they could add the green light in the distance with Gatsby looking over at Daisy's mansion there across the bay. So you can kind of work that as well. All right, and then kind of finishing up the day, there's something called Google Earth. And so I just kind of experimented with this the last year. So I'm not really an expert on Google Earth, but it was kind of fun. So kind of a different way of assessing the students. And so I experimented with this site last year to record Janie's travels throughout Florida in Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zordell Hurston. So in this book, we have our character Janie, and she kind of travels all over Florida. So I wanted to keep track of the student. I wanted to have the students keep track of her travels and place in the correct timeline order there. And so to do this, they go to Google Earth, and they have to click on a new drive, and they have to they can add place marks from the novel, and so kind of West Florida, the Panhandle area, and then there's a place called Eatonville and Jacksonville and Lake Okeechobee and Belle Glade and West Palm Beach. They can put their little links there. And then they could give details or a summary from the novel at each point, what happens to the novel at each point of the map. And then they could add the path. And so you can kind of show off where the path goes. And they could check out the tour by going to the lines at the top right and pressing full screen. And then they could share the link. They have to make a link and share it to the Google Classroom there, right? And so the picture on the left shows a student, right? And they were able to kind of show the path that Janie takes on her travels to Florida. Okay. You could also do this. There's a book called Into the Wilds with McCandless, the person McCandless, and he travels from Atlanta all the way to Alaska, so you can travel make his trip as well. Or if you're doing this in like Westward Ho, you can do Lewis and Clark's trip to Oregon, to the ocean, or other little trips as well. And you can kind of create the trips there as well there. So not a total expert on Google Earth, but you could have you go to the link there, and you could play around with Google Earth there as well. And then we kind of got to the little chance for ending here. So I'll have you fill in the so there should be a link to the feedback. So there should be the link to the feedback. So I'll have you fill that one in. And if you have any questions or answers, I'll hang on. But so you have about 15 minutes officially until lunch begins. But that's all the information I have. And again, I'm not an expert on Google Earth, but I thought it was something kind of fun for the students to do. So I have that one as well. All right, so encourage you to add more arts and activities to the students in the classroom and different forms of assessment. It makes it more enjoyable for the students and more enjoyable for the teachers. And using these different little art ways has a way for add a little more fun in the classroom as well. And so thank you all, and have a good year. All right, thank you all. I'm gonna stop the recording.